to the ritual. Nothingness approaches. Thorn grip. A sliver of what my home feels like. The Wildwood's power is mine! This is not the end!
Oh, all he did was do an animation, he died. So I'm pretty sure this is the end. Okay, I don't think there's a harder version of this boss fight available, but this boss fight is pretty easy if you have enough damage. So this is the Popcorn SRS build, which has scaled into crit. As you can tell, the damage is pretty impressive. There is some delay, so it may seem that damage isn't very much, but the moment the minions actually start to pop, they all do like an insane amount of burst. Alright, so let's go and talk about the upgrades I've made, some changes I made, and generally how this build will look like, because it has still room to scale. I would have thought that you would cap out at a certain point, but no. This build actually has a lot more scaling options available, and I'll have to see which is better and which is not, which is kind of meh, and then do the analysis for myself. So right now I'm already considering like removing this wand and actually going for a minion levels wand, and also thinking about how I want to sort out the helm and chest setup. So let's talk about this. First and foremost, I think this is for people who haven't actually seen the rest of the videos. I think it's a bit hard to go from like day 1 to day 5. So I'll just talk about what this build is at the moment and how I generally got to scale this. So this is minion instability, Popcorn SRS, and this is on a Guardian, not on a Necromancer. So the reason why is I feel Guardian has a lot more defensive options, and Guardian has a lot better ways of keeping alive and a lot better toolkits available for him. I also do feel that Guardian has much better clear because of Sentinel of Radiance and Radiant Crusade, whereas Witch and Necro doesn't necessarily have this. In general, I would think that Guardian is also stronger for anything that's elemental, and Necro is generally stronger for things that are like poison or physical. Long story short, Guardian's I think better because it's tankier, and that's kind of the reason why I've gone for it. Okay, let's go into the current setup for the build and how much it would generally cost you. This whole build, for me to build it, cost me about maybe 30 divines, but I'm pretty sure that if you were to pay for it or build it yourself, it would cost more. A lot of these pieces I've either sourced on my own or sniped when people didn't know its value. Right now, I would expect them, like generally most people in the market, to know the value of these items. So usually after the first week, things start to spike until week 2 or 3, where you have a lot more stability in the market and people start buying other things or changing builds, and you see these items on the market for cheaper. So first and foremost, this is a extremely tanky build. Okay, so most time you see minion builds, they have like 50-40k EHP. This is a 160-170k EHP. And the reason why it has 160-170k EHP despite looking like it has like almost none is because it uses very similar tech to Inquisitor. So Inquisitor uses EBMOM. So in this case, I have Eldritch Battery and Mind Over Matter. So my damage is split between my health and my ES, right? Because my ES is covering my mana. In this case here, the damage taken to health is mitigated by Petrified Blood, and it has a lot of recovery mechanics attached to it. So one of the recovery mechanics we have here is that it has the overpowered and hasn't been removed yet, Blood Notch and Immutable Force. So as long as you can reduce the incoming damage large enough to avoid one-shots, and this is accomplished by MOM. So as long as I have enough energy shield, it would actually soak up 40% of the incoming damage I take. So if you look at this, I have like 2.1k life, and this is like 1.5. Obviously 0.4 of this is this is much higher than 0.4 of this. So all the damage that I take 40% is always going to go to this. All right. That means that because the damage I take is going to be significantly reduced not only by MOMEB but also by petrified. Any hits that don't one-shot kill me is going to be mitigated by blood notch and immutable. So that's one set of recovery mechanics. The other is this. So getting your ES up all the time is generally quite difficult once you have Mind Over Matter and EV. Inquisitor deals with it by higher amounts of regen. They have whatever health regen they have is also applied to energy shield regen, and they get like 2-3k health regen, which equates to 3000 like energy shield regen, which is pretty substantial. In this case, your Guardian, you don't have the access to those mechanics. So what can you do to actually get your ES back? Two things. Alright, Guardian has very high amounts of block. In fact, it's much easier to block cap this particular league because you have access to block charms. So as you can see here, I have 2 sets of block charms, and I'm at block cap when I'm attacking. So let's say, for example, right now I have 52 and 51. If I cast a spell and I shield charge, it's 75 and 75. So you're pretty much block capped, and this is without glancing blows. That means you're taking 75% less incoming damage because only 25% of hits will actually go through. Alright, so you have this Aegis Aurora to mitigate that. So as long as you take a hit and you block it, you will get energy shield equal to 2% of your armor. Now, Guardian has quite a high amount of armor because, well, it doesn't look very high here because it's 18k. Once I hit the Flask, it goes up to 28, which is pretty alright. It's not like super amazing because I haven't really invested into it, but it's still like pretty good compared to other classes. So and the reason being for it is Guardian actually gets 14% armor on almost all his small nodes, and that amount of that amount of armor is actually helping you to get like pretty decent armor values, despite not really investing the armor that much. So yeah, you have enough armor to proc a Aegis Aurora energy shield on block. So that is one set of energy shield recovery. The other is this. So Divine Shield cannot recover energy shield to above armor, but 3% of physical damage prevented from hits is regenerated as energy shield per second. I have no idea whether this works. I think as long as the hits go through, it should regen. I'm not sure it affects block hits. So for now, I've kept this in, but I could also remove it. It really depends. The other mechanic I have here is this. So I have a Supreme Decadence. So this is Kadiro, right? So Elegant Hubris Kadiro. And this gives me life recovery from Flasks, also applies to energy shield, 30% less life recovery from Flasks. And all my Flasks are this. Reduce amount recovered, instant recovery when on low life. Because it's instant recovery and I'm always on low life because of Petrified, this is almost always going to be instant. And because it's almost always going to be instant, my mana, my ES is always going to be able to pop to full the moment I tap one of these. And I have like 3 uses of each at any one time, right? So that's a lot of recovery and a lot of like, if I take incoming damage, for example, if I see my shield go to 0, I tap once, I instantly go back to max shield when that happens, right? So that's all the defensive mechanics that are available. You also have quite a bit of overcap res. I have 78 for fire because of charms. I have 82 because of the chest enchant, chest implicit, as well as the Aegis Aurora. You can actually shove this up even further because there is purity of fire, lightning, and cold on spectres. You can actually go through those 3 spectres and get pretty much 4% or res for elemental for each of your elemental resistances, right? So you can also go that route using spectres. But for now, I haven't done that. I've actually gone for damage and also for spectres, which I think are tankier, right? I'll show you what spectres I'm talking about exactly. So the other reason you also go for this, actually no, let's talk about damage first. So how does this build scale damage? This build scales damage through minion stability. So minions explode when reduced to low life, dealing 33% of their life as fire damage to surrounding enemies. And how do we get SRS to low life? So how do we get SRS to, was it low life? Okay, how do we get SRS to low life, which is 50%? Is it 50%, 30%? I can't remember. But yeah, we get SRS to low life using Tavukai. So Tavukai, summon Raging Spirits take 25% of their maximum life per second as chaos damage. So because they take as chaos damage, they explode when they are low, correct? and then they explode for 33% of their life as fire damage. So how much life does my Summon Raging Spirit have? If you look here, my life of my Summon Raging Spirit is 68,000. 68,000. If you were to take 68,000 divided by 3, you're close to 22,000. That's a 22,000 spell. Like, you think about it as a spell, because it will then scale off like all your gems and all that, as well as the percentage damage of your abilities. So in this case, the percentage damage that you're scaling off is actually a percentage minion damage modifier. As you can see here, it says 499, but when I cast a any minion spell, it goes to 600. So I have 600% of this. So the multipliers on this are pretty insane. You have your gem links, and then you have 600% increased damage, and then it has a base damage of 22,000, which can scale even higher the more minion health you have. Right now my gem levels are only level 21. Can you imagine that? This is only level 21. If I scale this to like 28 or 29, this can almost like double, I think, because it's 10% more life. I think 13% more life per level. So if I get this at 29, this literally doubles, right? It goes to 120 k life. So there's a lot more room for scaling here. This is the transfigured version of Summon Raging Spirit, and what's so special about this is that not only do you have more maximum life, you also have all the hits are always critical strikes. This includes minion stability hits. So that 33% of life that you deal, that 22k damage, it's always going to crit, right? And because it's always going to crit, think about it this way: any amount of crit multi is going to scale the damage extremely hard. Because if I add 60% crit multi to this minion, you get basically 60% more damage from base, right? So that's why I have a critical strike, increased critical damage support here, which gives 150%, 148% critical strike multiplier. There are ways to scale crit as well. I was thinking of doing this, but I haven't gotten to doing that, which is to add nodes here. Unfortunately, 2 of these nodes will not do anything, but the rest of these nodes will give you 20% multi each, right? And there are ways as well, like for example Grand Spectrum, though to be honest, I have not gone the Grand Spectrum route because I don't feel that it is particularly useful. Like, I have too many good jewels that like need to be placed here, so I don't really have space for Grand Spectrums. But if you go Grand Spectrums, you have 90% more critical strike multiply for minions, increased critical strike multiply for minions. So yeah, as you can tell, because the base damage of this skill is extremely high, the amount of damage you're gonna do and scale is going to be pretty substantial. So how you go about playing this is you have Unleash, correct? So when I pop Unleash, I pop 5 at one go. So 5 summons of 5. So each summon of Unleash that drops 5 minions is going to give me 100k base damage on an ability, right? Because 20k base damage, fire damage on each minion, and you have 5 of them, so there's 110k base fire damage as a nuke, right? And then you can like scale with other stuff. For example, in this case, I have fire penetration support. So this pens, since it's only doing like fire damage, it can pen, right? The other thing as well is that you can scale off gem links. So in this case, I moved it to the helm because this is effectively a 7-link helm, and it's a 7-link helm because it's level 20 minion life, level 20 hypothermia, and 30% more elemental damage, right? You can definitely put it on the chest as well. It will only be a 6-link and then get gem levels on the implicits, but that would mean that you can't get stuff like +1 maximum number of spectres on the chest. So these are 2 gearing options that are available. I have opted to go for this one because it's cheaper. This helm itself cost me 2 divines, and the reason why it's 2 divines is a lot of these helms are actually rejects. They're not helms that minion players are making for themselves. These are helms that people are doing for like explosive trap, so explosive trapper. So they want a like a 7-link helm or 8-link helm. So all these are their rejects, right? They get something like this and they're like, oh, I prefer to just sell it off rather than use it. And it was only 2 divines for me. In fact, it was 2 divines, up for 2 divines for almost half a day, I think. So definitely you'll be able to snipe something like this for pretty cheap. Just slot in your SRS and you're good to go. Alright, so as you can tell, because the base damage of SRS is extremely strong, a lot of the gear I have on is mostly for survivability. So let me talk about the gear pieces I have for damage. For the helm, I have it for damage. For the wand, this is technically for damage, although I'm thinking of swapping this out. Right now, this allows me to summon Raging Spirits past the limit of 6. As you can tell, when it spikes, I can go all the way to 11. But most of the time, I can only cast a stable amount of 7 to 9. So 7 to 9 is with this. If I drop to a rare wand with +2 levels, I can get this to +2 levels, as well as have crit multi on this. The damage might be higher. Now, I haven't actually tried this out, but if that's the case, I would definitely want to give that a shot. For now, I think this is a pretty good option. This is a 50 chaos wand, right? A +2 level gem with crit multi, +2 level gems, convoking wand with crit multi is going to be like upwards of 5 to 6 divines. So this is a cheap budget option for that. But yeah, definitely thinking of scaling it. Rings are all about resistances. You want cast speed just for quality of life. This is to summon your Sentinel of Radiance, as well as to summon Raging Spirits as you go around the map. Although you have Unleash, so it doesn't really matter that much. Gloves also for life and resistances, but you can get minion damage. And I think this is the implicit. Yeah, the prefix. Yeah, this is the prefix. So you can get 27% increased damage from minions for your prefix for gloves. I've gotten a fractured one and crafted this. Belt, you always want a Darkness and Throne, because Darkness and Throne allows you to put 2 jewels in it. So the 2 jewels you want in it will always be life. The 3 things you always want is life, increase minion life, and minions do increased damage when you've used the minion skill recently. So this will double. So you have 20% minion life from this, and 40% increased minion damage. If you get ES and life as well, that too will double. So you get a pretty sizable amount of HP, EHP from this. Yeah, so you get a similar one for this other jewel, yeah, and you pretty much double the effects. For boots, it's the exact same thing. It's going to be life, resistances, movement speed, and if you don't have avoid being frozen somewhere else, you're gonna get it here. So I've gotten it here, as well as some strength and dexterity, because I need to hit my stats requirements. The other rings exactly the same. Either is always cast speed and resistances and stats if you need it. Shield is always going to be an Aegis Aurora. If you have one with a good implicit, that is great, but you don't really need one with a good implicit. Just a normal vanilla Aegis Aurora would be good enough. Tavukai is pretty much mandatory. You want to quality this for physical and chaos damage, which will give you 24% of maximum life instead of 20. This increases your pop rate by 20% effectively. So do get that instead of anything else. That also means that it is much better to go for a amulet that is not corrupted, unless you're willing to use tainted tainted catalyst and randomly get this. It's almost always better to just get a uncorrupted one, and then be okay with the implicit being just normal regen and get it decently rolled. You want minions to have minus 17% chaos resistance. This increases the pop rate as well, and that increases your DPS of your SRS. Whether or not, and then the rest of the rolls are like, the higher you can get, the better, right? More increased damage, more increased maximum life for minions. That's essentially like, if you can get more of it, the better. For chest armor, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to go life resistances, physical damage reduction, if you can, mana reservation efficiency of skills, and then probably craft on is it Gravictus mod? Physical damage from hits taken as fire and lightning, or you can go for block chance here as well. I have gone for a fractured maximum number of spectres. This is from Delve, so someone has bought it from looted it from Delve and sold it to me. You can snipe these pretty cheaply sometimes. Really depends. Sometimes if you are okay with, let's say, a dex base, you spend a lot less. Or if you're okay with just waiting there and looking for a base to snipe, you can get this pretty cheap, like maybe under 3 divines. Crafting is pretty straightforward when it's fractured. If you can't afford a fracture, look for one that isn't fractured and has decent rolls already. And like, if you have decent prefixes, for example, if you find one that has a high amount of life, high amount of armor, you can always use Eldritch implicits, Eldritch currency to craft the suffixes, and that should generally be like a pretty straightforward way of getting a decent chest armor without breaking the bank. Alright, why do I go for Spectre count? In this current league, Spectres are quite interesting. You have lots of different kinds of support Spectres that really boost your minion damage. I have chosen to go for a very cheap Spectre. This corpse is like 5 chaos, 3 to 5 chaos per corpse. And these are called, I think they're called meat sacks, yeah. So these are all perfect meat sacks, and each perfect meat sack gives you 40% increased minion life. So my minion life would be about 430% if it weren't for them. I have 4 of them, so no wait, so 510% or 520% around there. And it's only 100 and it's only and it's 570 because I have 4 of these. They're basically boosting the minion life of my SRS. You can stack these, right? You can actually stack all 4 of all 4 of the effects. You can also replace one of them for something that gives you crit multi. There's I'm not sure what it's called, a pain something, but that one gives you crit multi. The problem is that it dies way too fast because with Tavukai, all your minions have pretty much like non-existent chaos res, and Spectres don't have base chaos res on them, I think. So what happens is that they instantly melt unless the minion themselves doesn't have has high amounts of health or has like decent chaos res. I think this meat sacks do have decent amount of chaos res to begin with, and that's the reason why they survive pretty well. So I will go for 4 meat sacks. That's 40% minion increased life per meat sack. You can definitely go for other minions, support Spectres later on, but for now these are the ones I picked because it made the most sense, and since I'm just going to do like mapping, having them stay alive is more important. I haven't actually done this because my Animate Guardian gems are not 21 yet. I'm trying to corrupt 21 of my own. But once I have that as well, I will have access to Scorch effect and Scorch, which means I'm going to do even more damage, right? Right now, I'm not doing like insane amounts, but with Scorch, it'll be doing even more, right? Yeah. So let's talk about gem links right now. So, Summon Raging Spirit, you always want Unleash and critical damage if you're going a crit build. And then the rest is going to be whatever scales the hit damage, right? It could be concentrated effect, could be fire penetration. Minion life is pretty much mandatory. Hypothermia is good if you go for something like a Skitterbots. I have a summon Skitterbot set up, so I can go for hypothermia. Or you can go for like elemental focus. You don't ignite as a result of that, but you get a pretty decent amount of damage off ignite focus, elemental focus as well. Yeah, I can actually go elemental focus here, but yeah, I can't ignite. Anyway, for the wand, I have Arcanist Brand with Wave of Conviction and Flammability. That's just to shred resistances, so I can deal with like high resistance mobs. I have Molten Shell and Cast of Damage Shaker support. That gives me it gives me a buffer. I have Flame Dash for mobility. I have Convocation to get my minions, to drag my minions along with me, especially the ones that I have, especially my Spectres, because they have meat shield support. Arrogant support is linked to Vitality. This gives me some regen. I'll show you my Watcher's Eye later because that it helps as well. The regen also to some extent helps my minions keep alive, I guess. My SRS are usually too far. I mean, they might be too far away from me, but I'm not too sure. And also they have 68k life, so it doesn't really do much for them. Defiance Banner is for more I should actually quality this. Defiance Banner is just to get increased armor, as well as nearby enemies have reduced critical strike chance. Ray Spectre is linked to minion life support, meat shield support. Enemy Guardian is also linked to minion life and meat shield. In my chest I have Enlighten, Determination, Petrified Blood, Summon Skitterbots, Tempest Shield. Shield Charge is just for mobility as well. So let's talk about the Flask setup. All your 3 Flasks are going to be reduced amount recovered, instant recovery around low life. And then you go for immune to ignite, immune to bleeding, and immune to chill and freeze. I have ways to deal with freeze here, but for chill I'm using this because chill can get pretty annoying. Once I get 100% chill boots, which is also possible, then I can like drop this off and get something else. Quicksilver Flask as well as Granite Flask. You can actually drop 1 life flask and go for something like I I forgot what's that. Bottle Faith, yeah. You can go for Bottle Faith because enemies will take increased 10% damage from you and your minions. So that's also pretty strong. But for now, I've just kept it kind of like straightforward with this. Let's talk about the skill tree and my jewels. Sorry, I had to drink water. Okay, let's talk about the ritual, well, not ritual, the affliction ascendancy first. I'm running Primalist, so I'm going this side and getting all the sockets. I'm going for block chance, which is pretty strong. You can also go for block chance when you attack, but I find that this is a lot more reliable. I've got Culling Strike here, just basically a 10% damage multiplier. I have Cast Arcanist Brand, which uses Wave of Conviction, so that will proc Culling Strike. I have Adrenaline here, so because I am on very close to low life, what I'll do is I will pop a Flask. I'll cast a couple of times, Adrenaline will pop, I'll pop a Flask again, keep casting. And usually what I do is, because I'm walking most of the time instead of just free casting, I will get Adrenaline up again, which will give me physical damage reduction, cast speed as well as move speed, makes me a lot more mobile, gives me a lot more mobility. Okay, then let's go back. The last charm is when there are 5 nearby allies, your nearby allies have Onslaught. That is really, really strong. And I have maximum fire res here as well, because I don't really need more block chance. Alright, let's go into the pathing. You path up here. You're going to path down here for minion damage, and then the life notes as well as the armor, strength, and life regen node. You path up here. You go for the minion defensive nodes. These are minion life. And also you go for this. Minions have 30% increased maximum life and reduced life recovery rate. Normally you get Convocation here. Convocation has 40% cooldown recovery rate. This is what you do as you level up in X. But once you get into this, once you start scaling damage and you don't really care too much about the damage of your Summon Sentinel Radiance, you can actually stop, you can actually remove the Convocation and get more increased minion life. Next you path down here. You get Enduring Bond. This is for duration of your SRS, although you don't really need that much, but duration of your Sentinel is also pretty good. So yeah, definitely get that. Minions penetrate 8% of cursed enemies' elemental resistance. Obviously penetration is really strong, and as long as you're cursing them, which you are with flammability, you're gonna have a pretty decent amount of pen, right? Okay. You won't go Mind Over Matter early, and the reason why you won't go Mind Over Matter early is because Mind Over Matter only works when you have Eldritch Battery and you can sustain the ES for both your casting and for your EHP. So you need a lot more mechanics to be able to use this, but so you kind of do this like really late. So you path up here, you go for the life nodes here, then the socket, then the life nodes here, as well as count as low. I have count as low life because that helps me to proc Adrenaline more smoother, but you don't really need this. The jewel socket here is just generic maximum life, minion life, resistors, and reduce effect of curses is like pretty strong as well. Down here you got chance to block spell damage, and then a reservation efficiency. Minion stability is here. Path up here, get Eldritch Battery, and then you get a cluster jewel socket. So for the cluster jewels, what you want is Feasting Fiends with Call to the Slaughter, and then you get like extra stats like All Res and Energy Shield. So then you have like also 2 medium clusters. Go for 5 or 6 passives. What you want is like Dexterity or Strength, Chaos or all elemental resistances, and 25% increase effect of your medium clusters. This one has 35% here because it's I-84, I believe. Yep. Yeah, but pretty much the same thing. You want either ES or Life. Oh, this one doesn't have any ES yet. You want either ES or Life, Chaos Resistance, or All Res, and like either Dex or Strength. For the sockets here, I have Immutable Force and Blood Notch, but you can put like other stuff as well. And let's talk about this side as well. This is like really late game, so I won't talk about this now. After you path up here, you get all these. You will path down here. What you get is the life nodes here. You get the block nodes here, so this gives you good aura res, gives you energy shield when you block, as well as chance to block spell damage. You go here, you go for the reservation notables. This is one of the strongest reservation wheels in the entire passive tree, so I definitely go for these. I've gone for 1% of maximum elemental resistances because I am reserving both life and mana. You path here, you get this. Righteous Army is really strong because, not really, sorry, Righteous Army is just 20% increased damage. It's not too bad, but the ones preceding it are really strong because it's 10% to both life and damage, which you will scale off. Minions have 30% increased arrow effect. This affects the radius of your stanton or radiance, as well as the minion instability explodes. You path here, you want armor and resistances and ES. Then you go here, you get 10% of armor, also applies to chaos damage taken from hits. This gives you pretty much decent chaos EHP. Path here, get the socket. This is my Watcher's Eye. My Watcher's Eye is 8% physical damage reduction, 8% chance to block, and 54% increased life recovery from Flasks while affected by vitality. So my Flasks actually like heal pretty much all the ES and life I have, even with like kind of crappy Flasks. I can consider actually getting weaker Flasks with better charge usage because I actually don't need these anymore. Alright, let's go here. You go for the life nodes here, as well as increase maximum life. There are no life modifiers on any equipped body armor. My body armor, I've intentionally not gotten any life modifiers, so I get 15%. And then last but not least, the bind shield. I'm not sure if this works, so you can actually not go for this. Alright, let's go down here, and then this is what I have. I have an impossible escape here for necromantic ages. This can be pretty expensive, about 5 to 6 divines. I'm pretty sure it will show up to 10 or 12 if people are interested in a build like this, but for now, I bought this for like 6, so I pretty much paid average price for this. You path down here. This is the thing that is going to be the most interesting and yet also the most difficult, because you need very specific timeless jewels that kind of take advantage of this. So there's a timeless jewel here I have for Kadiro. If you don't care about this Supreme Decadence, you don't need Kadiro per se, but the number you're looking for is 114340, because 114340 is considered one of the best minion combinations for impossible escape and timeless jewels in the entire game, and I'll show you exactly why now. So I have here 80% increased damage. This is Slumlord. 80% increased maximum life, Axiom Warden. 80% increased damage, Slumlord. 80% increased damage. So you have a 240% increased damage just off this, as well as 80% increased life. Okay, there's another what's the term called for it? Oops. Let me go back to hideout and I'll show you. I have another timeless jewel. Actually, no, I won't go to the hideout. Such a pain. I don't want to lose my portals. Yeah. So I don't want to lose, meaning I don't want to lose like the map. Sometimes I leave and then it crashes and all that. There's another timeless jewel. Let me find a number for you. That one gives you 3 minion life and 1 minion damage, which is the opposite of this one. So this is more for generic minions, and the other one is also applicable to anything that's running minion stability or life scaling, minion life scaling build. So the other one is 112300. So 112300 is the one that gives you 3 life, 380% life, and 180% damage. The other one also has the benefit of going, I think, you have aura effect here, as well as like lightning res here. Okay, the reason why I've gotten for this, I actually have both, by the way, for both Kadiros. But the reason why I've gone for this one instead is because down here would have been a lightning resistance, and I would actually have the path here as well as add 2 other extra nodes. So in order to not do that, I've swapped to this one, which saves me 2 points essentially, right? Okay. Oh, so this also, the reason why I've gone I need these 2 points here is because I want to go for stun thresholds based off 60% of the energy shield instead of life. This is to enable you to proc Immutable Force and Blood Notch. Without this, you won't be able to proc it because you won't get stunned on every hit. With this, you get stunned on every hit. You're gonna recover your life on every hit, right? So yeah. So all in all, this timeless jewels are going to be expensive if you can find them, right? If you actually even find any of them on the market, you'll be lucky to find them for 1 or 2 divines. But most of the time, once people realize how strong they are, they will be 6 to 7, probably 8 to 10 divines by like week 3. So yeah, if you want to go for this build, please start watching for these. There are also other timeless jewels that are kind of passable. They have maybe 3 life and damage nodes total, or 2 life and damage nodes total. They may not require a impossible escape, so you can also go for that. But this is what I'm suggesting. All right, you can always solve these problems yourself by tweaking your own POBs. Anyway, that's pretty much the build. Don't think there's much else to explain. Okay, maybe I can talk about a bit about my atlas strategy, so you know it's a bit clear. I'm still going Wandering Path, and the reason why I'm going Wandering Path is because I want to make sure my maps are not. I don't want to spend a lot of time on each map. I would just want to go into Affliction, clear the Affliction, run to the map boss, kill the map boss, get Maven invitations, get boss invites, and then go for the next map. And eventually, when I get 10 Mavens, 10 Maven bosses, I will then do the Maven 10 invite, and then stack up Maven Ritz. Right, so that's my plan right now. I'm not really doing anything beyond that. So I have Stream of Consciousness, and I have Destructive Play, and Wandering Path. I will eventually probably also go extreme archaeology and start getting chance to spawn what was it? Expedition on my atlas tree. So then I will just do expedition whenever I see it, because it's pretty easy for this build to do expedition. Once I have my enemy guardian up as well, I have Explodey, I will have Scorch. So yeah, you know, clear is going to be even better than what I'm going to show you right now. I haven't shown you the clear yet. I will show you right after this, because I just did the boss. But clear will get even better, and you know, I can probably get even tankier if I get like Kingmaker on my guardian. Yeah. Anyway, if you want to look up leveling guides, you look at my day 1 to day 3 progress, because that is the best indication on you know, it's the best indication of like how, or rather the best way to actually figure out like what to do if you really wanted to start this now. But this is mostly for people who actually started a SRS Guardian and wanted to do something other than hit-based SRS Guardian, because I think hit-based SRS Guardian is great, but I don't think it scales beyond a certain point. It actually costs a lot of money to actually scale it beyond a certain point. And to get this kind of performance, yeah. Oh, 200 XP. Oh yeah. I always love this guy because so all you want to look for is perfect corpses. If they're not perfect, you don't care. Is this a dead end? No, it's not. It is a dead end. Oh, I can go top. Normally they're empowered. I don't know if they were empowered here, but may not be because they died so fast. But I can't tell now because my damage is pretty good. So let me just show you another, maybe another one, so it doesn't like, so you have like a larger sample size. I'm doing maps magicked, not rare, because I don't think the increase in quantity is required, and also because if you stack enough damage mods with the empower system, you're going to get a hard time, even though your build is good. I might at some point like not care, but as long as I still want the level, nah. On average, you get like maybe about 3k. If you do affliction pretty fast, it's usually 3k to 4k. Sometimes you get 5k, but it's a bit rare.
I do so enjoy trying to up the stakes. Struggle or strangle. Grasp your mortality tightly.
That looks a bit gnarly.
Struggle or strength. That's one more for my collection.
Wait, I didn't pick up something. Well, I think it's garbage, but never mind. Yep, hope this helps. I'm gonna drop a POB. The POBs are not really good at calculating damage because right now POB doesn't recognize the new skill gems. You can put in a normal summon Raging Spirit and maybe like simulate, I don't know, 100% crit and 100% more life. Yeah, but I'm not sure how to tell you like how to go about solving that problem. But you can see damage is good enough, and I think that's enough you need to know. Alright, I'm out. Peace. Bye. Hope you enjoyed this. See ya.